Hello, my name is Dale Dufay. I'm going to narrate this video for Mary Hall. She monitors these webcams that show the rising or setting of the sun. We can look up here and see this, no doubt, the setting because it's Eastern or European Eastern. S stands for summer time, so it's European Eastern summertime or Eastern European summertime. 1900 hours. So the sun's setting here, and it's Compati Square, Greece. Hope I pronounced that right. Compati Square. And again, this is in Greece, heading, pointing west as the sun sets. And occasionally these cameras will pick up, these webcam cameras will pick this unusual dot in the center here. And she's done a couple videos that I narrated in the past about this. And it's important to realize a few things. Now, for starters, the argument is this is something the camera does to protect it, the armature inside and things like that. But this is not the case. This is a digital high-quality camera taking 1 to 3 picked frames per second. And it's picking this up simply because it's there. Now, a lot of times you'll see it reflecting on an object, like right here. So we have to speed it up a little bit. But on the car here, sometimes there's a reflection or anything that will reflect. You'll see this armature or this aberration, this what the camera's picking up. Probably can't see it with the naked eye, of course. But you'd have to look at the sun. You'd be blared, glare. You wouldn't see it. But if it's reflecting, that proves that it's not from the camera. I mean, I don't know if any of you watched that show, The Osbournes Wanna Believe. Ozzy Osbourne would immediately say this is from the camera, the glare or whatnot. But it's important to realize that these cameras are picking this up, and that's why they're showing it. Plus, if you look carefully and speed it up, which we've done, you can see an actual rotation. It's counterclockwise. And when there's a reflection, which there's not going to be in this video, you can see it going clockwise, which of course it would be. So it's evidence that that's not from the camera. Again, there's people that would just not believe it and say it has to be from the camera. So the big question is what is this? Now, this is, an app, something the camera's picking up. Now, this is in Sea Cottages, Canada, and I don't see the time anywhere. I'm not sure if it's rising or setting, but this one's showing a reflection. You can clearly see on the bottom here. Now, there's no way the camera can protect itself or whatever the claim is that this is, which it's not. This is something the camera is picking up. And you could see it on many webcams. You're not going to see it on all of them because what we believe to be this artificial sun is not everywhere. You're not going to see it everywhere. And for some reason, they're deploying it here. And this is a dead giveaway, these webcams. Again, you're not going to see it with the naked eye because it'll just be all blurry like this. And they do that on purpose. That's why they soup up the skies. Probably in areas where it's really souped up from the aerosols, the airplane clouds, they're probably deploying this artificial sun. And why they're doing it, who knows? Again, it's important to remember that there's patents out there for these, and there has been for decades. So why have patents and why produce them and invest in them if they're not going to use them? And of course they're using them. They're not telling us they're not going to. They can't hide the fact that they're developing them and there's patents, but they're never going to brag about when they deploy these, because they're going to have to tell us why they're doing it. And the big question too is, again, why? And now this is important to realize as well, that behind this is the real sun. The artificial sun is all that's being used here, and because you still feel the heat from the real sun. And again, the big question is, why are they deploying these artificial suns? And again, I say these because there's no doubt many of them, because this is basically a satellite. They might be 200 to 300 miles from the Earth, but they have to, to imagine the engineering and mathematics involved in making sure this orbits and follows the exact path of the sun. Uh, making people believe that that's exactly what it is when it isn't. And you're not, it's not going to be seen everywhere. I'm sure when you get to the periphery of this glare and whatnot, there's slim chance, depending if they just soup up the sky enough, that you'd see the two suns, the real one and the artificial one. But that's not highly unlikely, but it does happen. And again, this one's got the reflection. There's no denying it's not the camera. As much as Ozzy Osbourne would like to think, I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure he would immediately say, this is the camera. But it is the camera. It's picking up something that's actually there. Of course, it's hard to fathom that they have artificial suns and they're deploying them in certain areas. It seems to be pretty high latitude on the northern hemisphere. These areas always seem to be in the 45-degree area, longitude. So if you see webcams elsewhere, you're not going to see this. But that's interesting that that's the case. Why are they using it in the northern hemisphere? What are they hiding, perhaps? Are they testing these out? Or is the sun getting the real one that's 90 million miles away? That one might be having trouble. So they're deploying these for some reason. Again, it's important to realize that they do exist. There's many patents, and there has been for many years. But we're not going to hear about when they deploy them, because people will be asking why, But nobody's going to really look into, They have all kinds of excuses as to why they're making them when they publish it to the public. It's to extend growing seasons and things like that, or to produce power, clean energy and whatnot. But the fact is they've been deploying them for many years, and the big question is why. In this one, you can clearly see, a counterclockwise. If you speed this up, which I'll put a segment in it with a real fast one, and speed it up and show this one in particular with the reflection, and you can clearly see the rotation. And of course, the counterclockwise on the unit or the satellite up there, and clockwise on the reflection. It's amazing. So it's proof, it's not the camera causing that to happen. It's the camera picking this up, which is actually there, because the artificial suns have this center aperture, which extends out beyond the reflective shields, and that's what aims the light towards the shields, or energy, whatever they're using, towards reflector shields, which are somewhat abstract. They're not a perfect circle. So you can always take like a welder's glass and look up at the sun, and if you see a perfect circle, that's the real one. In our area, we never see the artificial one because I'm always looking. But in certain areas, they need them. And of course, it's not going to go around the entire Earth. It doesn't need to. It's only going to work in an area, and the orbit's going to do what it needs to do to follow the path of the sun as the Earth orbits the sun. But there's no way that this is something certain cameras cause. This is something your camera's picking up. I can't say that enough. And that's exactly what the artificial suns look like. They had this aperture in the center, which we can clearly see here. In fact, some of them have malfunctioned and fallen to Earth, and people have found these things and don't know what they are, but they're part of the artificial sun. That's something that fell off, and it's always this part, because it always needs to turn. And again, that's why this is all so blurry, because the reflectors are abstract. They're not, they don't have a perfect circle. They're just big reflector panels that, who knows how big they have to be. But again, they're only, they're at satellite height, which is, around, I imagine 200 to 300 feet above the Earth. And it's possible the space station interacts with these things as well, or some other interaction with other satellites or space stations or whatever. But the fact is they're deploying these, and cameras are picking them up all over the northern hemisphere. This is obviously sunset, but we see this on sunrises as well. So it's very interesting. And once in a while, Mary's going to do videos about this, because it's very interesting. and we got to keep on top of it, and and it's proving that they're using them. So I thank you for watching. Please subscribe to Mary's channel, and we'll talk at you later.